true terrifying stories from TEXAS. 1. The Legend of the Goatman's Bridge, Denton, TEX. The old Alton Bridge, located between Denton and Copper Canyon, is often referred to as the Goatman's Bridge due to the eerie legend surrounding it. In the 1930s, a black goat farmer named Oscar Washburn was said to have been lynched by the Ku Klux Klan after he gained a reputation for being a reliable businessman. After placing a sign that read "This way to the Goatman" on the bridge, he was abducted by the Klan and hanged from the bridge. When they looked down to see his body, it was gone. Despite searching, his body was never found. Since then, locals have reported terrifying encounters on the bridge, from the sounds of hooves echoing across the structure to sightings of a goat-headed figure lurking in the shadows. Others have claimed they were chased off the bridge by an unseen force or that their cars inexplicably stopped working while crossing. The legend of the Goatman remains one of Texas' most popular and eerie ghost stories, attracting thrill-seekers to this haunted bridge. 2. The Texas Killing Fields, League City, TEX. One of the most chilling true crime stories from Texas is the mystery of the Texas Killing Fields, a 25-acre stretch along Interstate 45 between Houston and Galveston. Since the 1970s, over 30 bodies of murder victims, mostly young women and girls, have been found in this desolate area. The fields have become synonymous with unsolved murders and disappearances. The first known victim was found in 1971, and the killings have continued sporadically over the decades. Despite efforts by law enforcement, many of the cases remain unsolved, with the murderer or murderers eluding justice. The isolation of the area, combined with the sheer number of victims, has led to rumors of a serial killer, or killers, operating in the shadows of the Texas Killing Fields. Families of the victims still hope for closure, while the area remains a symbol of mystery and terror. 3. The Curse of the Marfa Lights, Marfa, TEX. Since the late 1800s, travelers passing through the desert near Marfa, Texas, have reported seeing strange, unexplained lights floating above the horizon. These lights, known as the Marfa Lights, appear randomly and often change colors, moving swiftly across the desert terrain. Skeptics have tried to explain them away as atmospheric phenomena or car headlights, but many believe there's something more sinister at play. Local legend claims that the lights are the spirits of Apache warriors who were killed in battle, forever wandering the desert in search of revenge. Others suggest the lights are tied to extraterrestrial visitors, adding to the mystery surrounding them. The Marfa Lights have been studied by scientists and paranormal enthusiasts alike, but no definitive explanation has ever been found, leaving this Texas phenomenon a spooky enigma. 4. The Black-Eyed Children of Abilene. In the late 1990s, a journalist from Abilene, Texas, named Brian Bethel reported a chilling encounter with two young children who appeared to be no older than 12 or 13. They approached him while he sat in his car, asking for a ride home. But something about the children seemed off. Their clothes were old-fashioned, and Bethel felt an overwhelming sense of dread as he looked into their faces, only to realize their eyes were completely black, devoid of any color or emotion. Bethel sped away, but the encounter left him deeply shaken. Since then, reports of black-eyed children have cropped up across the country, with many sightings in Texas. These eerie figures often ask for help, whether it's a ride, to use a phone, or to enter a home, but those who encounter them describe a paralyzing fear that prevents them from assisting. The origins of these black-eyed children remain a mystery, but their presence is enough to send shivers down the spine of anyone who crosses their path. 5. The Haunting of the U.S. at Lexington, Corpus Christi, TEX. Docked in Corpus Christi, the USS Lexington is a retired aircraft carrier that served in World War II. Known as the Blue Ghost, this massive ship saw fierce combat, and many sailors lost their lives on board. Today, the Lexington operates as a museum, but many believe the spirits of those who perished still linger. Visitors and staff have reported strange occurrences, including sightings of shadowy figures roaming the ship's corridors, disembodied voices echoing in empty rooms, and objects moving on their own. One of the most famous ghosts is a young sailor dressed in a white uniform who appears to help visitors find their way before vanishing without a trace. Paranormal investigations have revealed high levels of supernatural activity on the Lexington, making it one of Texas' most haunted locations. 6. The Phantom Killer of Texarkana, Texarkana, TX. In the spring of 1946, the small town of Texarkana was terrorized by a series of brutal attacks known as the Texarkana Moonlight Murders. A masked assailant targeted couples parked in secluded areas, killing 5 people and seriously injuring 3 others. The killer, who wore a white mask with eye holes cut out, became known as the Phantom Killer. Despite extensive manhunts and numerous suspects, the Phantom Killer was never caught, and the case remains unsolved. The murders were so terrifying that they inspired the 1976 film The Town That Dreaded Sundown. Even today, Texarkana holds an annual screening of the movie, and locals remember the fear that once gripped their town. 7. Yorktown Memorial Hospital, Yorktown, TX. Yorktown Memorial Hospital is infamous for its reputation as one of the most haunted places in Texas. Opened in 1950 and run by the Felician sisters, the hospital served as a rehabilitation center before it was eventually abandoned in the 1980s. During its time in operation, many patients reportedly died within its walls, and since its closure, reports of paranormal activity have skyrocketed. Visitors to the hospital have claimed to see ghostly apparitions, hear voices and footsteps in empty hallways, and even feel the touch of unseen hands. One of the most chilling experiences involves an entity in the hospital's chapel, where visitors report feeling a malevolent presence watching them. Paranormal investigators who have explored the hospital have captured eerie voices on their equipment, adding to the unsettling atmosphere of this forgotten place. 8. The Ghosts of the Driscoll Hotel, Austin, TX. The Driscoll Hotel, an opulent landmark located in downtown Austin, is notorious for its paranormal activity. Opened in 1886, this grand hotel has hosted numerous famous figures including presidents and celebrities. However, its history is also marked by tragedy, and many believe that the spirits of those who died within its walls continue to haunt the hotel. One of the most famous stories is that of Samantha Houston, the young daughter of a U.S. senator who died in the hotel in 1887. She was playing with a ball on one of the grand staircases when she tragically fell to her death. Guests and staff claimed to see a little girl carrying a ball wandering the halls. Some have even heard giggles and footsteps echoing in the night, and one portrait of Samantha displayed in the hotel is said to make visitors feel ill or dizzy when they gaze into her eyes. Other reports include the ghost of a woman in a bridal gown, believed to be a jilted bride who took her life in one of the rooms. Guests staying in her room have experienced inexplicable cold spots and the eerie feeling of being watched. The Driscolls' haunted reputation has turned it into a destination for paranormal enthusiasts hoping to experience its ghostly inhabitants firsthand. 9. The Galveston Hurricane Ghosts, Galveston, TX. In 1900, Galveston was hit by one of the deadliest natural disasters in U.S. history. A powerful hurricane swept through the island, killing over 6,000 people and leaving widespread devastation in its wake. The disaster left an indelible mark on Galveston, and many believe that the spirits of the hurricane's victims still linger, unable to move on. The ghost sightings began almost immediately after the storm, with reports of shadowy figures roaming the beaches and the ruins of destroyed homes. One particularly eerie location is the site of the St. Mary's Orphan Asylum, where 10 nuns and 90 children tragically drowned when the storm surge engulfed the building. Witnesses claim to hear the ghostly sounds of children singing as the nuns tried to keep them calm during their final moments. Several historic buildings in Galveston are also believed to be haunted by the storm's victims. At the Ashton Villa, which survived the hurricane, visitors report seeing the apparition of a woman in a flowing gown, as well as hearing mysterious footsteps and voices. The Hotel Galvez, another iconic structure, is rumored to be home to several spirits, including that of a woman who committed suicide after her fiancé was lost at sea. Her ghost, known as the Lovelorn Lady, is said to haunt room 501, where guests report strange occurrences such as flickering lights and objects moving on their own. 10. The Haunted Texas State Capitol, Austin, TX. The Texas state capitol is more than just the seat of government, it's also said to be one of the most haunted locations in the state. Completed in 1888, the Capitol has seen its share of tragedies, accidents, and mysterious events that have contributed to its haunted reputation. One of the most famous stories involves the ghost of Robert Marshall Love, a former comptroller who was shot and killed in his office in 1903. Love's spirit is said to linger in the building, with some Capitol employees reporting the sound of footsteps echoing through empty hallways and the sensation of a cold presence in the room where he was killed. Another ghost said to haunt the Capitol is that of a Confederate soldier seen roaming the grounds in full uniform. He is often spotted near the rotunda, where a number of Civil War memorials are located. Some believe the soldier is searching for comrades or reliving moments from his past, adding to the Capitol's eerie atmosphere. There are also tales of phantom smells, particularly the scent of roses, which many associate with the spirit of a young woman who died tragically on the Capitol grounds. Despite these ghostly occurrences, the Capitol continues to draw visitors interested in both its history and its haunted reputation. 11. The Donkey Lady Bridge, San Antonio, TX. The story of the Donkey Lady Bridge in San Antonio is one of the more bizarre and unsettling urban legends in Texas. The legend goes that in the 1950s, a woman living near the bridge was horribly disfigured in a fire, allegedly set by her husband after a family argument. Her face was so severely burned that it resembled a donkey's snout, and she became a recluse, living under the bridge and terrifying anyone who ventured too close. Over the years, many locals have claimed to see a grotesque figure with a donkey-like face and long arms lurking in the shadows near the bridge. Others have heard strange screeching noises or felt an unseen presence watching them. Some even claim that the donkey lady will chase people down if they get too close, appearing out of nowhere to attack cars or frighten passers-by. While the legend has never been proven, the Donkey Lady Bridge has become a popular destination for thrill-seekers looking to catch a glimpse of this terrifying figure. Whether the stories are real or simply a product of local folklore, the eerie atmosphere surrounding the bridge is enough to keep visitors on edge. 12. The Baker Hotel, Mineral Wells, TX. The Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells, once a luxurious resort, now stands abandoned and decaying, but its haunted history continues to draw visitors. Opened in 1929, the hotel was a popular destination for celebrities, politicians, and wealthy travelers looking to experience the mineral waters of Mineral Wells, which were believed to have healing properties. However, the hotel eventually fell into disrepair and closed its doors in the 1970s. Since then, numerous reports of paranormal activity have surfaced. One of the most famous ghosts is that of a woman believed to be the mistress of the hotel's manager. She reportedly committed suicide by jumping from one of the upper floors, and her spirit is said to linger in the hotel, particularly in the area around her room. Guests and paranormal investigators have reported seeing her apparition, as well as hearing her voice echo through the halls. Other ghosts include a former bellhop who died in an accident and is said to haunt the elevator, as well as various other spirits seen roaming the hotel's vast corridors. Paranormal investigators have captured ghostly figures on camera, and visitors often experience cold spots, unexplained noises, and the sensation of being watched. 13. The San Antonio Ghost Tracks, San Antonio, TX. One of San Antonio's most famous urban legends involves the haunted train tracks on Shane Road. The story dates back to the 1930s or 1940s, when a school bus filled with children was allegedly hit by a train, killing everyone on board. According to legend, the spirits of the children now haunt the tracks, determined to prevent anyone from suffering the same fate. Visitors to the site claim that if you park your car on the tracks and put it in neutral, an unseen force will push the vehicle to safety, away from the tracks. What's more, some people have reported finding small handprints on the back of their cars, believed to be the ghostly children trying to save them from danger. Though skeptics have offered scientific explanations for the phenomenon, such as the slight incline of the road creating the illusion that the car is being pushed uphill, the ghost story remains popular among locals and tourists alike. Many still visit the tracks in hopes of experiencing the supernatural push for themselves. 14. The Demon House of Mission, Texas. In the quiet town of Mission, Texas, lies an unassuming house that has garnered a reputation as one of the most haunted locations in the state. Known as the Demon House, this property has been the site of numerous reports of demonic activity, unexplained phenomena, and terrifying paranormal experiences. The haunting began in the early 2000s when a family moved into the house and started experiencing strange occurrences, such as objects moving on their own, doors slamming shut, and disembodied voices. As time went on, the activity became more violent, with family members reporting scratches, bites, and other physical attacks from an unseen force. The family's young children were particularly affected, with one claiming to have seen a dark figure with glowing red eyes standing at the foot of their bed at night. A series of exorcisms and paranormal investigations took place, but the activity persisted, leading the family to eventually abandon the home. Paranormal investigators who have visited the property since have reported a sinister presence, with some claiming that the house is a portal for demonic entities. The Demon House remains a chilling reminder of the darker side of the supernatural in Texas. 15. The Ghost of La Llorona, South Texas. The legend of La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman, is one of the most well-known ghost stories in Hispanic culture and is particularly prevalent in South Texas. According to the legend, La Llorona was a woman who drowned her children in a fit of rage or despair after her husband left her for another woman. Overcome with guilt and grief, she drowned herself in a river, but her spirit was condemned to wander the earth for eternity, searching for her lost children. In South Texas, particularly along the Rio Grande, many claim to have encountered the ghost of La Llorona. Witnesses describe hearing the eerie sound of a woman weeping near bodies of water, often at night. Some have even seen her apparition, dressed in a flowing white gown, walking along the river banks or standing near the water's edge. It's said that if you hear her cry, you should run away, as she may try to take you to the afterlife in place of her lost children. The legend of La Llorona has been passed down for generations, with many parents using the story to keep their children away from dangerous waterways. However, the tale has also taken on a life of its own, with countless sightings and encounters adding to the chilling legacy of this weeping ghost. 16. The Cursed Tree of Old Man Hensley, Bowie County, TX. In Bowie County, Texas, there is a tree known to locals as the Cursed Tree of Old Man Hensley. The story goes that in the early 1900s, a farmer named Hensley owned a large piece of land on which he built a thriving homestead. However, Hensley was rumored to have committed terrible acts against his family and neighbors, leading to his reputation as a cruel and vindictive man. According to legend, Hensley was eventually murdered by one of his own family members, and he was buried under a large oak tree on his property. Before his death, Hensley reportedly cursed the land and the tree, vowing that no one who trespassed on his property would ever leave alive. Over the years, numerous reports of strange occurrences and tragedies have been linked to the cursed tree. Visitors to the site have experienced feelings of overwhelming dread, seen shadowy figures lurking near the tree, and heard voices whispering their names. Some claim that the ground near the tree feels unusually cold, even on the hottest days. Local law says that several people who tried to cut down the tree met with mysterious accidents or sudden deaths, adding to the belief that Old Man Hensley's curse still lingers. 17. The Lady of White Rock Lake, Dallas, TX. White Rock Lake in Dallas, Texas, is known for its scenic beauty, but it is also the site of one of the state's most famous ghost stories, the tale of the Lady of White Rock Lake. This legend dates back to the 1930s and has been passed down through generations of Dallas residents. According to the story, a young woman dressed in a soaking wet white evening gown appears along the shores of the lake, hitchhiking for a ride. She usually asks drivers to take her to a nearby house on Gaston Avenue. Once they agree, she gets into the car without saying much, and as they approach the address, she suddenly vanishes, leaving behind a puddle of water on the seat. When the driver arrives at the house and inquires about the woman, they are told that she drowned in the lake many years ago, and her ghost has been wandering ever since. Numerous witnesses over the decades have reported similar encounters, each describing the same mysterious woman, The Lady of White Rock Lake continues to be one of the most enduring ghost stories in Texas, with new sightings reported from time to time. 18. The Haunted Mega Hotel, San Antonio, TX. The Mega Hotel, located next to the historic Alamo in San Antonio, is one of the oldest and most haunted hotels in Texas. Opened in 1859, the hotel has a rich history and has hosted many famous guests, including Theodore Roosevelt, who is said to have recruited his Rough Riders in the hotel bar. However, it's the spirits of those who died in or near the hotel that have left a lasting impression. One of the most famous ghosts is Sally White, a chambermaid who was murdered by her husband in the hotel in 1876. Guests and staff report seeing Sally's ghost in the hallways, often carrying towels or cleaning supplies, as if she's still tending to her duties. She is most frequently spotted on the third floor, near the room where she was fatally injured. The Mega is also said to be haunted by a Confederate soldier who appears in full uniform, as well as a ghostly figure in a top hat seen in the bar area. Some visitors have experienced doors opening and closing on their own, lights flickering, and the sensation of being touched by unseen hands. The Mega Hotel's long history and close proximity to the Alamo have made it a hotspot for paranormal activity, attracting ghost hunters and curious visitors alike. 19. The Legend of the Chupacabra, South Texas. The Chupacabra, which means goat sucker in Spanish, is a legendary creature that has been reported in various parts of the Americas, but it gained particular notoriety in South Texas in the 1990s. Descriptions of the Chupacabra vary, but it is generally described as a hairless, dog-like creature with large, glowing eyes, sharp fangs, and a spiked ridge along its back. The legend of the Chupacabra began after a series of strange livestock deaths in rural areas, with farmers discovering their goats and other animals dead, seemingly drained of blood through small puncture wounds. Some claim to have seen the creature lurking near their property, while others found strange tracks and markings around the kill sites. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, stories of Chupacabra sightings have persisted for decades. Some cryptozoologists believe the Chupacabra is a previously unknown animal species, while skeptics attribute the sightings to diseased coyotes or wild dogs. Whatever the explanation, the Chupacabra remains one of Texas' most enduring and mysterious legends. 20. The Ghostly Train of Bragg Road, Saratoga, TX. Bragg Road, also known as Ghost Road, is an 8-mile stretch of dirt road near Saratoga, Texas, that is famous for its unexplained ghost lights. Locals claim that a glowing light appears in the distance at night, floating and moving along the road before suddenly disappearing. The light has been described as bright white, blue, or orange and is said to resemble a lantern. The legend surrounding the ghost light varies, but one popular version claims that the light is the lantern of a decapitated railroad worker searching for his missing head. Others believe the light is tied to a murder that occurred along the road in the early 20th century. Despite scientific attempts to explain the phenomenon, such as swamp gas or car headlights, the ghost light of Bragg Road remains unexplained and continues to attract curious visitors. 21. The Terlingua Ghost Town, Terlingua, TX. Nestled in the remote desert near Big Bend National Park, Terlingua was once a bustling mining town during the late 1800s and early 1900s, known for its rich mercury deposits. However, after the mines were exhausted and the town's economy collapsed, Terlingua became a ghost town, with most of its residents abandoning the area by the 1940s. Today, the remnants of Terlingua's past can still be seen in its decaying buildings and eerie silence. But it's not just the town's history that haunts visitors. Those who visit Terlingua often report strange sightings, including ghostly miners walking the desolate streets or standing by the entrance to the abandoned mines. Some claim to hear the sounds of pickaxes striking rocks or the distant murmur of miners conversing, even though no one is there. One of the most unsettling legends is that of the Restless Miner, a spectral figure who wanders the cemetery at night, seemingly searching for something or someone. The town hosts the annual Terlingua Chili Cook-Off, but during quieter times, its ghostly atmosphere draws paranormal enthusiasts who hope to catch a glimpse of the spirits said to haunt this once thriving desert community. 22. The Witch of Old Town Spring, Spring, TX. Old Town Spring, located just north of Houston, is a quaint, historic district known for its charming shops and restaurants. However, beneath its picturesque facade lies a chilling legend that has haunted locals for generations. The tale of the Witch of Old Town Spring. According to the legend, in the early 1900s, a woman accused of practicing witchcraft lived on the outskirts of town. She was blamed for a series of misfortunes that befell the community, including crop failures, livestock deaths, and mysterious illnesses. Fearing her powers, the townspeople allegedly burned her at the stake near the site of what is now the Wunsch Brothers Cafe, an iconic local restaurant. Visitors to Old Town Spring have reported seeing the ghostly figure of a woman dressed in black, wandering the streets at night. Some claim to have encountered her near the spot where she was said to have been executed. Her presence is often accompanied by a sudden chill in the air or the feeling of being watched. Over the years, the legend of the Witch of Old Town Spring has become a part of the area's folklore, and her restless spirit continues to intrigue and terrify those who encounter her. 23. The Spirits of Presidio La Bahia, Goliad, TX. Presidio La Bahia, a historic Spanish fort located in Goliad, Texas, is not only known for its role in the Texas Revolution, but also for the numerous ghostly sightings reported over the years. Originally built in 1749, the Presidio played a significant part in Texas history, especially during the Battle of Goliad in 1836, when hundreds of Texian soldiers were executed under the orders of General Santa Anna. Visitors to the Presidio have reported seeing ghostly apparitions of soldiers patrolling the grounds, particularly near the site of the infamous Goliad massacre. The sound of gunfire and cannon blasts has been heard in the dead of night, long after the battles ended. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures standing guard at the fort's entrance, while others have felt a cold, spectral hand touch them as they explored the site. One of the most frequently reported hauntings involves a female figure believed to be a nun. Legend has it that she roams the chapel at La Bahia, praying for the souls of the men who lost their lives during the massacre. The Presidio's tragic history, combined with its remote location, has made it a popular destination for ghost hunters seeking to connect with Texas' revolutionary past. 24. The Phantom of Jefferson Hotel, Jefferson, TX. The Jefferson Hotel, located in the historic town of Jefferson, Texas, is renowned for its ghostly activity. Built in the 1850s, the hotel was a stop for riverboat travelers, and over the years it has gained a reputation as one of the most haunted places in the state. Guests and staff have reported numerous paranormal experiences, from phantom footsteps to full-body apparitions. One of the most infamous stories is that of the Vanishing Bride. According to legend, a young bride committed suicide in one of the rooms after being abandoned by her fiancé on their wedding day. Her ghost has been seen wandering the halls in a white gown, and guests staying in her room report the sensation of being watched. Doors in her room often open and close by themselves, and some claim to have heard the faint sound of sobbing late at night. Another frequent visitor is the ghost of a man wearing a black hat, who is often seen in the lobby or near the grand staircase. He is said to be a former guest who died under mysterious circumstances in the hotel. His presence is often accompanied by a feeling of unease or dread. The Jefferson Hotel's long history and its numerous reports of paranormal activity have made it a favorite spot for ghost hunters and curious travelers. 25. The Crying Girl of Maxdale Bridge, Killeen, TX. Maxdale Bridge, an old iron truss bridge near Killeen, Texas, has been the subject of ghost stories for years. The bridge, which spans the Lampasas River, is said to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl who drowned in the river many decades ago. According to local law, the girl was playing near the water when she slipped and was swept away by the current. Despite frantic efforts to save her, she perished, and her body was never recovered. Visitors to the bridge report hearing the sound of a girl crying or calling for help, especially during the late hours of the night. Some claim to see her ghost standing on the riverbank, only for her to vanish as they approach. The eerie feeling of being watched is common among those who visit, and a few have reported seeing strange orbs of light floating near the water. Adding to the haunted reputation of Maxdale Bridge is the legend of a man who hanged himself from the bridge after the death of his fiancée. His spirit is also said to haunt the area, and visitors sometimes report seeing a shadowy figure hanging from the bridge's beams before disappearing. 26. The Haunted Woman Hollering Creek, San Antonio, TX. Woman Hollering Creek, located near San Antonio, Texas, is not just a strangely named body of water, it's also associated with one of the state's eeriest ghost stories. According to legend, the creek got its name from the ghostly cries of a woman who is said to haunt the area. The story is believed to be tied to the legend of La Llorona, the weeping woman who drowned her children and now roams near bodies of water searching for them. Many claim that the cries of this woman can be heard along the banks of Woman Hollering Creek, especially late at night. Some who venture too close to the water at dusk report hearing a mournful wail, followed by the feeling of being watched by an unseen presence. The legend has become a part of the folklore of South Texas, and while many dismiss it as a myth, there are those who swear they have heard the woman's haunting cries echoing through the night, leaving a sense of dread in their hearts. 27. The strange case of the Aurora UFO crash, Aurora, TX. Aurora, Texas, is home to one of the strangest and most enduring legends of the state. The tale of a UFO crash that supposedly occurred in 1897, long before the infamous Roswell incident. According to newspaper reports from the time, a mysterious flying object crashed into a windmill on a local farm, and the debris revealed the body of an alien pilot. The townspeople allegedly gave the strange being a proper burial in the local cemetery, and a headstone was placed to mark the grave. The legend of the Aurora UFO crash has persisted for over a century, and the cemetery where the alleged alien was buried has become a pilgrimage site for UFO enthusiasts. While the original headstone was stolen years ago, many believe that the alien's remains are still buried somewhere in the cemetery. Over the years, numerous attempts to excavate the grave have been blocked, adding to the mystery and speculation surrounding the event. Though skeptics argue that the story was a hoax or the result of a misidentified weather balloon, the legend continues to attract visitors from all over the world. The strange case of the Aurora UFO crash remains one of Texas' most intriguing mysteries, blending folklore, extraterrestrial theories, and local history. 28. The Screaming Banshee of El Paso High School, El Paso, TX. El Paso High School, a beautiful and historic building in El Paso, Texas, holds a dark secret that has terrified students and staff for decades. Often referred to as the Lady on the Hill, the school's halls are said to be haunted by a mysterious spirit known as the Screaming Banshee. The most famous legend surrounding the school involves a girl who reportedly jumped to her death from one of the school's balconies in the 1920s. Since her tragic death, students and staff claim to have seen her ghost wandering the halls, particularly near the staircase where she was last seen alive. Witnesses report hearing her piercing screams in the middle of the night, which is why she earned the title of the Screaming Banshee. But the school's paranormal activity doesn't stop there. There are also reports of lockers opening and closing on their own, strange mists appearing in photographs, and disembodied voices echoing through the building's old hallways. Some people have even claimed to see ghostly figures standing in empty classrooms, only for them to disappear when approached. El Paso High School remains a hotspot for paranormal investigators, and its haunted reputation continues to frighten those brave enough to explore its haunted halls. 29. The Devil's Backbone, Texas Hill Country. The Devil's Backbone, a scenic ridge in the Texas Hill Country, is not only known for its rugged beauty but also for its reputation as one of the most haunted locations in Texas. This stretch of limestone hills has been the site of numerous ghost sightings and paranormal activity, with many attributing the hauntings to the area's violent history. Native American battles, deadly settler conflicts, and brutal cowboy showdowns are all said to have left a lasting imprint on the land. Travelers along the Devil's Backbone often report seeing ghostly figures of Spanish monks walking the ridges, as well as the apparitions of Native American warriors on horseback. Some have even claimed to see ghostly stagecoaches or hear the eerie sound of galloping hooves echoing through the hills at night. Locals tell stories of ghostly hitchhikers along the winding roads, and ranchers living nearby have reported seeing spectral figures wandering across their property. One of the most chilling tales is that of a Confederate soldier who is said to appear on the ridge, his figure illuminated in the moonlight. The Devil's Backbone remains a mysterious and eerie location, drawing those seeking to experience the paranormal firsthand. 30. The Candy Lady of TERIBBLE, TX. The story of the Candy Lady is a terrifying urban legend that has haunted the small town of TERIBBLE, Texas, for years. According to the legend, a woman named Clara Crane lived in the late 19th century and became unhinged after the death of her young daughter, leading her to seek revenge on the children of the town. It's said that she would leave candy on windowsills to lure children out of their homes, and then abduct them. The children would disappear, never to be seen again, and locals would find candy wrappers and rotten teeth in their wake. Some versions of the legend say that Clara Crane was arrested and sent to a mental institution where she eventually escaped. After her escape, children in the area reportedly began disappearing once more, and their bodies were never found. The mysterious disappearances have continued to be linked to the Candy Lady, with many parents warning their children not to accept sweets from strangers. While there's no solid evidence to support the existence of the Candy Lady, the legend has persisted, and residents of TERIBBLE still share stories of her ghost wandering the streets, searching for new victims. The legend of the Candy Lady continues to send chills down the spines of those who live in TERIBBLE, leaving people to wonder whether there's more truth to the tale than meets the eye. 31. The Ghost Lights of Saratoga, TX. Saratoga, Texas is home to one of the most famous and enduring supernatural phenomena in the state, the Ghost Lights of Saratoga, also known as the Bragg Road Ghost Lights. For decades, residents and travelers along Bragg Road have reported seeing mysterious, floating lights that appear to hover and dance along the deserted road. These glowing orbs range in color from white to orange to blue, and they often appear without any discernible source. Legend has it that the lights are the spirits of railroad workers who died during the construction of the rail line that once ran along Bragg Road. Some believe the lights are tied to a tragic accident involving a train conductor who lost his head in a collision and now roams the area with a lantern, searching for his missing head. Others believe the lights are the result of natural gas or other atmospheric conditions, but no scientific explanation has ever been definitively proven. The ghost lights continue to be a source of fascination, with locals and tourists alike flocking to the area in hopes of catching a glimpse of the eerie, unexplained phenomenon. Whether the lights are a supernatural occurrence or a natural one, their presence adds a sense of mystery and fear to the already remote and desolate stretch of road. 32. The Shadow People of Haskell, TX. The small town of Haskell, Texas, has gained a reputation for being haunted by the eerie and unsettling presence of shadow people. These dark, humanoid figures are often seen out of the corner of one's eye, lurking in the shadows and disappearing when looked at directly. Unlike traditional ghost sightings, shadow people are usually described as featureless, black silhouettes that move quickly and silently, often leaving those who see them with a sense of dread or fear. Haskell residents report seeing these shadowy figures both indoors and outdoors, particularly in the town's older homes and buildings. Some claim that the shadow people are drawn to negative energy, while others believe they are connected to the town's history of violence and tragedy. Those who encounter the shadow people describe the experience as terrifying, with some even reporting that they felt paralyzed with fear during the encounter. One of the most disturbing aspects of the shadow people sightings is their unpredictability. Unlike traditional hauntings tied to specific locations or events, shadow people seem to appear randomly, without any warning or explanation. Their presence has left many in Haskell questioning what these figures are and why they continue to haunt the town. 33. The Curse of the Blue Light Cemetery, Cut and Shoot, TX. In the small town of Cut and Shoot, Texas, lies a cemetery shrouded in mystery and fear, Blue Light Cemetery. According to local legend, a curse was placed on the cemetery many years ago, and anyone who enters it at night will be greeted by a strange, glowing blue light. The source of the light is unknown, but those who have seen it claim it floats above the graves, sometimes moving toward visitors in an aggressive manner. There are several versions of the curse, but one of the most common involves a local witch who was buried in the cemetery after being accused of dark magic. It's said that her spirit guards the cemetery, and the blue light is a manifestation of her powers. Others believe the light is the result of restless spirits who were buried in unmarked graves, forever searching for peace. Visitors to Blue Light Cemetery report feeling an overwhelming sense of unease and dread as soon as they step through the gates. Some have seen the blue light floating among the tombstones, while others have experienced mysterious cold spots or heard whispers in the darkness. The curse of the Blue Light Cemetery has made it a popular destination for paranormal investigators, but many locals warn against visiting the cemetery after dark, fearing the wrath of the spirits that call it home. 34. The Lake Worth Monster, Lake Worth, TERIBBLE. One of Texas' most bizarre legends is that of the Lake Worth Monster, a strange creature said to inhabit the area around Lake Worth, near Fort Worth. Descriptions of the creature vary, but most accounts describe it as a half-man, half-goat beast with long hair, scales, and glowing eyes. The first reported sighting occurred in 1969 when a group of people claimed to have seen the creature climbing a tree and throwing a tire at them. Over the years, there have been numerous sightings of the Lake Worth monster, with some claiming it resembles a cryptid known as the Goatman. Witnesses report seeing the creature swimming in the lake or prowling around the shoreline at night, its eyes glowing in the darkness. Some have even claimed to find strange tracks and evidence of the creature's presence near the lake. While many skeptics believe the Lake Worth monster is nothing more than a hoax or a misidentified animal, the legend has persisted for decades. The creature has become a part of local folklore, and the mystery of the Lake Worth monster continues to intrigue both believers and skeptics alike. 35. The Haunted Railroad Tracks of San Antonio, TERIBBLE. One of San Antonio's most famous ghost stories involves a set of railroad tracks on the south side of the city. According to local legend, in the early 1930s, a school bus filled with children stalled on these tracks. Before they could escape, a train barreled through, killing everyone on board. Since then, it's believed that the spirits of the children haunt the tracks, determined to prevent anyone else from meeting the same fate. The ghostly tale claims that if you park your car on the tracks and put it in neutral, an unseen force will push the vehicle off the tracks, uphill to safety. Adding to the eerie legend, visitors have reported finding small handprints on their car after the push, said to belong to the ghostly children who saved them. Although skeptics have suggested that the phenomenon is simply an optical illusion caused by the landscape, many who visit the site believe otherwise. For decades, the railroad tracks have drawn curious visitors and paranormal enthusiasts who want to experience the supernatural push for themselves. 36. The Hotel Galvez, Galveston, TERIBBLE. Galveston, Texas, has its fair share of haunted locations, but none are as famous as the historic Hotel Galvez. Opened in 1911, this luxury hotel has seen its share of guests over the years, including some who never checked out, at least not in spirit. The most well-known ghost story from the Hotel Galvez is that of the Lovelorn Lady. The story goes that in the 1950s, a young woman was staying at the hotel, eagerly awaiting her fiancé's return from sea. Day after day, she would climb to the hotel's highest floors to look out over the Gulf of Mexico. When news came that his ship had been lost at sea, the heartbroken woman took her own life in room 501. However, her fiancé had not died. The ship arrived, but by then, it was too late. Guests who stay in room 501 report strange occurrences, including flickering lights, unexplained cold spots, and the feeling of being watched. Some have even seen the ghostly figure of a woman in a white gown roaming the halls of the hotel, forever waiting for her lost love to return. In addition to the Lovelorn Lady, there have been sightings of other ghostly figures at the Hotel Galvez, including a phantom nun and a mysterious man who appears in the lobby before vanishing without a trace. The Hotel Galvez is now considered one of the most haunted hotels in Texas, and many guests visit specifically for the chance to experience its ghostly residence. 37. The Emily Morgan Hotel, San Antonio, TERIBBLE. Just steps away from the Alamo, the Emily Morgan Hotel in San Antonio is one of the city's most haunted locations. The building, originally constructed in the 1920s as a medical facility, has a dark history that has left an indelible mark on its current form. What was once a hospital and morgue is now a luxurious hotel, but many believe that the spirits of those who passed away within its walls still linger. Guests have reported all manner of paranormal experiences at the Emily Morgan, particularly on the 12th and 14th floors, where the hospital's surgical rooms and morgue were once located. Reports include the sound of disembodied voices, doors opening and closing on their own, and even ghostly apparitions of nurses or patients wandering the hallways. Some visitors have awakened in the middle of the night to see figures standing at the foot of their beds, only to disappear moments later. Elevators in the hotel are known to act strangely, often stopping on floors without being requested or taking guests to the 14th floor even if they hadn't selected it. Paranormal investigators believe this could be due to residual energy from the building's time as a hospital, with spirits unable to leave the place they once occupied. The Emily Morgan Hotel remains a top destination for ghost hunters, drawn to its eerie past and high levels of paranormal activity. It's no wonder that visitors often leave feeling as though they've stepped back in time or into another realm entirely. 38. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre House, Kingsland, TX. The house featured in the iconic 1974 horror film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is located in Kingsland, Texas, and although it is now a restaurant, its dark association with the terrifying movie has given it an eerie reputation. While the film itself is a work of fiction loosely based on the crimes of infamous serial killer Ed Gein, many people believe that the house carries a sinister energy due to its connection with the film's disturbing events. Over the years, visitors and staff at the house, now called the Grand Central Cafe, have reported strange occurrences. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures out of the corner of their eye or felt an unexplained heaviness in certain rooms. Others have heard unsettling sounds, such as footsteps when no one is around, and objects have been known to move on their own. Although the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house is no longer the home of a fictional killer, the fear and terror it inspired on screen continue to haunt those who visit, adding to its legacy as one of Texas' most infamous and chilling locations. 39. The Baker Hotel, Mineral Wells, TX. The Baker Hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas, was once a luxurious destination for the rich and famous, but after it closed in the 1970s, it became known for something else entirely: its ghosts. Built in 1929, the hotel played host to numerous celebrities, including Judy Garland and the Three Stooges. However, it's the spirits of less well-known guests who seem to have stayed behind, haunting the hotel's empty halls. One of the most famous ghosts at the Baker Hotel is that of the Lady in White, a former guest who allegedly took her own life by jumping from one of the hotel's upper floors. She is often seen wandering the halls, and guests have reported the smell of lavender perfume in her wake. Her presence is most often felt near her old room, where lights flicker and doors open and close on their own. In addition to the Lady in White, other spirits include a former bellhop who is said to haunt the elevator and a little boy who plays pranks on visitors. Paranormal investigators have captured ghostly voices, strange shadows, and unexplained movements during their investigations of the Baker Hotel. Although the hotel is now abandoned, plans are in place to restore it, but many believe the ghosts that call it home will remain, giving future guests an experience that's far more than just a night's stay. 40. The Ghost of Yucca Theater, Midland, TX. The Yucca Theater in Midland, Texas, is not only a local landmark, but also a hotspot for paranormal activity. Built in the 1920s, the theater has been the site of numerous ghost sightings over the years. The most famous of these is the spirit of a former stagehand who is said to haunt the theater after dying in an accident during a performance. Visitors and staff have reported seeing the shadowy figure of a man standing in the wings or walking across the stage, only for him to disappear when approached. Some have even heard the sound of tools being dropped, a nod to the stagehand's untimely death. In addition to the stagehand, there are reports of other ghostly figures lurking in the audience seats and dressing rooms. Lights have been known to flicker on and off without explanation, and the sound of footsteps can often be heard echoing through the empty theater. Those who work at the Yucca Theater have grown accustomed to the paranormal activity, but for visitors, the haunted reputation adds an extra layer of intrigue to this historic venue. 41. The Victoria's Black Swan Inn, San Antonio, TERIBBLE. Located on the banks of the Salado Creek in San Antonio, Victoria's Black Swan Inn is one of the city's most haunted locations. The land on which the inn sits was the site of the Battle of Salado Creek in 1842, where many soldiers lost their lives, and the property itself has a long and tragic history of death and despair. Over the years, it has served as a home, a spiritualist's retreat, and now a venue for events, but its ghostly reputation persists. Visitors to Victoria's Black Swan Inn report seeing shadowy figures in the house and on the grounds, as well as hearing disembodied voices and footsteps. The inn is said to be haunted by several spirits, including a former owner who took her own life on the property. Guests often feel an overwhelming sense of sadness in certain rooms, and some have even seen the ghostly figure of a woman standing near the windows, staring out at the creek. Paranormal investigators who have explored the inn have recorded voices and captured strange mists on camera, further adding to the inn's haunted reputation. Despite its beautiful appearance, Victoria's Black Swan Inn remains a place where the past lingers and its ghosts continue to make their presence known. 42. The Marfa Lights, Marfa, TX. The Marfa Lights are one of Texas' most famous and enduring mysteries. Located near the small town of Marfa in the remote Trans-Pecos region, these unexplained lights have fascinated visitors since the late 1800s. The lights, described as glowing orbs that appear in the desert, typically move around at night, changing colors and sizes. They seem to float above the ground or dart across the horizon before disappearing entirely. Although various scientific explanations have been proposed, such as atmospheric gases, swamp gas, or reflections from car headlights, none have fully explained the phenomenon. Paranormal enthusiasts believe the lights may be connected to UFOs or ghostly spirits from the region's ancient history. Visitors to the Marfa Lights viewing area often describe feelings of awe and unease as they watch the lights dance across the desert landscape. Whether they're a natural phenomenon or something more otherworldly, the Marfa Lights continue to attract tourists and researchers alike, each hoping to solve the mystery behind one of Texas' greatest unsolved enigmas. 43. The Saratoga Light, Saratoga, TX. Another mysterious light phenomenon in Texas, similar to the Marfa Lights, is the Saratoga Light, also known as the Ghost Road Light. This light can be seen along a rural stretch of road near Saratoga in the Big Thicket National Preserve. The story behind the Saratoga Light varies, but one popular version claims that it is the ghost of a railroad worker who lost his head in a tragic accident. The light, which resembles a lantern, is said to be the worker's spirit searching for his lost head. Witnesses describe seeing a bright, glowing light floating along the deserted road, sometimes approaching cars or darting away into the woods. Others claim the light follows them only to vanish without a trace. Some believe it to be the spirit of a murdered man, while others think it's simply a natural phenomenon. Still, no scientific explanation has ever fully accounted for the mysterious light, and it remains a subject of fascination for locals and visitors alike. 44. The Devil's Chair, Alto, TX. The Devil's Chair in Alto, Texas is a mysterious and creepy location with a dark history tied to the Caddo Indian tribe. Located in a remote cemetery in East Texas, the chair is said to have been cursed by the tribe after their land was taken by settlers. The chair itself is actually a stone bench located near the graves of some of the town's oldest residents. Local legend states that anyone who sits in the chair at night will be cursed or experience bad luck. Some who have been brave enough to sit on the chair have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, hearing strange whispers, or even seeing shadowy figures lurking near the graves. Others claim to have experienced a run of bad luck after visiting the site, further adding to the chair's ominous reputation. Despite its creepy backstory, the Devil's Chair has become a popular spot for ghost hunters and thrill seekers hoping to experience the paranormal for themselves. Many locals advise avoiding the cemetery after dark, believing that the curse is real and should not be taken lightly. 45. Yorktown Memorial Hospital, Yorktown, TX. Yorktown Memorial Hospital, located in the small town of Yorktown, Texas, is one of the state's most infamous haunted locations. The hospital opened in 1950 as a Catholic-run institution and served as a rehabilitation center for alcoholics and drug addicts before it was abandoned in the 1980s. Since its closure, the hospital has become a hotspot for paranormal activity. Visitors report seeing shadowy figures roaming the hallways, hearing disembodied voices, and feeling sudden cold spots. One of the most notorious spirits is that of a former nurse who is said to haunt the hospital's operating rooms. People claim to have seen her standing near the surgical tables or moving through the halls with her ghostly white uniform. It is said that she was particularly cruel to her patients and now punishes those who dare to enter her domain. In addition to the nurse, the spirits of former patients are also believed to linger in the hospital, some still suffering from the pain and despair they felt in life. Paranormal investigators who have explored Yorktown Memorial Hospital often capture eerie EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, and strange noises on their equipment. The hospital remains a chilling reminder of its dark past, and only the bravest dare to explore its haunted halls. 46. The Ghosts of Alamo Plaza, San Antonio, TX. The Alamo is perhaps the most iconic site in Texas, famous for the 1836 battle in which 189 Texian defenders lost their lives. While the Alamo stands as a symbol of bravery and sacrifice, it is also believed to be one of the most haunted places in the state. Visitors and staff alike have reported seeing apparitions of soldiers, hearing the sounds of battle, and feeling an overwhelming sense of sorrow near the site where so many lives were lost. One of the most famous ghost sightings involves the Ghost of the Alamo, a spectral figure of a soldier seen standing near the Alamo's walls, dressed in period clothing. Witnesses say that he appears to be standing guard, his ghostly form visible for only a few moments before fading away. The spirit is believed to be one of the Texian defenders who died during the battle, still watching over the historic site. In addition to the soldiers, many people have experienced unexplained cold spots, whispers, and the sounds of footsteps throughout Alamo Plaza. Some believe the spirits of both Texian and Mexican soldiers remain trapped in a state of unrest, unable to move on from the bloodshed and violence that took place there. The Alamo's haunted history adds an eerie layer to its historical significance, drawing both history buffs and paranormal enthusiasts to its hallowed grounds. 47. The Wailing Woman of River Legacy Park, Arlington, TX. River Legacy Park in Arlington, Texas, is known for its picturesque scenery and hiking trails, but it also has a darker side. The park is said to be haunted by the spirit of a woman who wails in agony late at night, earning her the nickname the Wailing Woman. According to legend, the woman was a mother whose children drowned in the river that runs through the park. Devastated by their loss, she wandered the park searching for them, eventually succumbing to grief. Now, her spirit is said to walk the park's trails, weeping and calling out for her lost children. Visitors to River Legacy Park have reported hearing eerie cries and seeing a ghostly figure near the riverbank, especially during the early morning or late evening. The park's thick woods and quiet atmosphere add to the unsettling feeling that you're not alone when you're there. Whether the Wailing Woman is a myth or a real ghost, her legend has left a lasting impression on those who visit the park. 48. The Screaming Bridge, Fort Worth, TX. The Screaming Bridge in Fort Worth is one of Texas' lesser-known but equally terrifying urban legends. The story goes that in the early 1900s, a group of teenagers was driving across the bridge late at night when they lost control of the car, plunging into the river below. All of the passengers were killed in the crash, and since then, locals claim to hear the sound of their screams echoing through the night. The original bridge has since been replaced, but the legend persists. Visitors to the new bridge report hearing strange noises including screams and moans, as well as the sound of splashing water, even when the river is calm. Some claim to see shadowy figures standing near the bridge, disappearing when approached. Although there's no official record of the accident, the Screaming Bridge has become a part of Fort Worth's ghostly lore, with thrill seekers and paranormal investigators frequently visiting the site to experience the eerie sounds for themselves. 49. The Driscoll Hotel, Austin, TX. The Driscoll Hotel, one of Austin's most luxurious and historic buildings, is also one of the most haunted hotels in Texas. Built in 1886 by cattle baron Jesse Driscoll, The hotel has seen countless visitors, some of whom are said to have never left. The most famous ghost story associated with the Driscoll is that of a little girl who died in the hotel in the late 1800s after falling down a flight of stairs while chasing a ball. Guests staying in the area where the accident occurred often report hearing the sound of a child laughing or the thump of a ball bouncing down the stairs, even though no one is there. Some have even seen the apparition of a little girl dressed in Victorian-era clothing, wandering the halls or playing near the stairs. Another well-known ghost at the Driscoll is that of Jesse Driscoll himself. He is said to roam the hotel's halls, particularly the lobby and ballroom. Guests have reported seeing a well-dressed man smoking a cigar, only for him to disappear moments later. The scent of cigar smoke often lingers in the air, despite the hotel being smoke-free. The Driscoll Hotel remains a destination for those looking for both luxury and a brush with the paranormal. With its history of tragic events and eerie encounters, it continues to be one of Texas' most haunted spots. 30. The Candy Lady of TERIBBLE, TX. The story of the Candy Lady is a terrifying urban legend that has haunted the small town of TERIBBLE, Texas, for years. According to the legend, a woman named Clara Crane lived in the late 19th century and became unhinged after the death of her young daughter, leading her to seek revenge on the children of the town. It's said that she would leave candy on windowsills to lure children out of their homes, and then abduct them. The children would disappear, never to be seen again, and locals would find candy wrappers and rotten teeth in their wake. Some versions of the legend say that Clara Crane was arrested and sent to a mental institution where she eventually escaped. After her escape, children in the area reportedly began disappearing once more, and their bodies were never found. The mysterious disappearances have continued to be linked to the Candy Lady, with many parents warning their children not to accept sweets from strangers. While there's no solid evidence to support the existence of the Candy Lady, the legend has persisted, and residents of TERIBBLE still share stories of her ghost wandering the streets, searching for new victims. The legend of the Candy Lady continues to send chills down the spines of those who live in TERIBBLE, leaving people to wonder whether there's more truth to the tale than meets the eye. 31. The Ghost Lights of Saratoga, TX. Saratoga, Texas is home to one of the most famous and enduring supernatural phenomena in the state, the Ghost Lights of Saratoga, also known as the Bragg Road Ghost Lights. For decades, residents and travelers along Bragg Road have reported seeing mysterious, floating lights that appear to hover and dance along the deserted road. These glowing orbs range in color from white to orange to blue, and they often appear without any discernible source. Legend has it that the lights are the spirits of railroad workers who died during the construction of the rail line that once ran along Bragg Road. Some believe the lights are tied to a tragic accident involving a train conductor who lost his head in a collision and now roams the area with a lantern, searching for his missing head. Others believe the lights are the result of natural gas or other atmospheric conditions, but no scientific explanation has ever been definitively proven. The ghost lights continue to be a source of fascination, with locals and tourists alike flocking to the area in hopes of catching a glimpse of the eerie, unexplained phenomenon. Whether the lights are a supernatural occurrence or a natural one, their presence adds a sense of mystery and fear to the already remote and desolate stretch of road. 32. The Shadow People of Haskell, TX. The small town of Haskell, Texas, has gained a reputation for being haunted by the eerie and unsettling presence of shadow people. These dark, humanoid figures are often seen out of the corner of one's eye, lurking in the shadows and disappearing when looked at directly. Unlike traditional ghost sightings, shadow people are usually described as featureless, black silhouettes that move quickly and silently, often leaving those who see them with a sense of dread or fear. Haskell residents report seeing these shadowy figures both indoors and outdoors, particularly in the town's older homes and buildings. Some claim that the shadow people are drawn to negative energy, while others believe they are connected to the town's history of violence and tragedy. Those who encounter the shadow people describe the experience as terrifying, with some even reporting that they felt paralyzed with fear during the encounter. One of the most disturbing aspects of the shadow people sightings is their unpredictability. Unlike traditional hauntings tied to specific locations or events, shadow people seem to appear randomly without any warning or explanation. Their presence has left many in Haskell questioning what these figures are and why they continue to haunt the town.